And just before I get started talking about all this juicy goodness with understanding your North Node and why I love it so much, first, I just want to say, well, let me start with housekeeping. I've been having an issue with seeing people's comments or when people are coming through, even joining. So right now it's showing that there's one person joining. So if you don't mind just saying hello, and that will give me an indicator of whether or not I'm actually receiving comments today. There's something going on with Facebook. So the other thing is, and so far I haven't seen anything come through, that if you have any specific questions and I'm not answering them, please feel free to just direct message me. I have my phone here to just note if things come through, if comments come through, if this whole comment section isn't working. So I appreciate your patience or, grace in advance for this strange Facebook situation. Anyway, secondly, I want to say thank you so much, Kylie, for creating this space and for allowing, each person their own little moment to share something that's fun with a group. I'm really happy to be here, and whether you're seeing this live or later, this information is incredible and really relevant and just will be very helpful in helping you to understand even more deeply, what you are here to do and what that looks like and how to call in more of that energy into your life, especially if you're in moments of wavering, fear or some shakiness or feeling a little bit stuck. So, so I just get started. Let's see. Yeah, and again, not seeing any comments come through, so please feel free to, if you have questions, to message me directly. All right, my name is Beth Porter. I am an intuitive healing and life transformation guide. I work with all of the tools that I love and that I have found really effective in my own transformation, which is astrology and human design. And I noticed that there are a lot of amazing human design readers in this group. So thank you, everyone who's bringing this information to the world for everyone else to tap into and making it really accessible. But then I also work with a healing modality. So taking my clients through, the awareness piece of understanding what they're here to be, who they really are, what is of them and what's not of them. And then the magic happens when we are able to decondition or we're able to heal and release old stories, wounds, traumas, patterns through the healing modality that I work with, which is called emotional polarity technique. And it's really about just connecting into your subconscious body and allowing your body, which stores all of our information, to guide us into where and what needs to be resolved and released so that we can create a new, more aligned picture for your life for you to step into. So anyway, I'm here to show and tell today one of the tools that totally liberated me in my purpose, and I obviously am using it with my clients as well, and my friends and my peers, and really anyone who will just listen to me talk about it. So thank you. I'm obsessed. So as you all know, I'm sure, especially in this group, there is so much to astrology. Obviously understanding your birth chart, then there's progress charts and understanding the charts of today and the charts of tomorrow, and the moon moves all the freaking time. So everything's always in flux. And, that can be really overwhelming. So after I got a basic, decent understanding of my birth chart and worked with some astrologers to understand my progress charts, I then discovered North Node. And the value of finding out about North Node has just been incredible. So what is your North Node and why do you need to care about it? Essentially, your North Node is the path for your soul's evolution. So we've all come here with some type of previous soul experience, and during this lifetime, we are meant to evolve it in some way. And essentially you have lived, the North Node is and I'll back up just a tiny bit, it's essentially a nodal axis on the moon. So there's a North Node and a South Node, and they're directly opposite of one another. So wherever your North Node is, and we'll get into how to find that in your chart, the opposite will be your South Node. So you have lived, a lot of time, essentially probably a lot of lifetimes, in your South Node expression. And as a way to bring balance to your soul and the world, you're here now to live out this karmic path of evolving into your North Node. So it's super, super important to start tuning into that and realizing what your South Node tendencies are that are part of the shadow tendencies of that sign and placement that you need to release. And then to welcome forward the tendencies that are positive of your North Node sign and house placement. So your North Node calling kind of hits around Saturn return. So that's usually around like age 27 to 30-ish. Some people get the calling a little bit earlier. I think that I did. If you're an intuitive, and I think pretty much everybody, well, I think everyone's intuitive, but if you're tuned into your intuition, you're in this group most likely, and there's a chance that you've been called into your North Node in bits and pieces a little bit earlier. But really it's just this ask to up level into this next version of yourself. And so if we stay in our South Node, which can feel really, really comfortable, it can feel, because it's like these tendencies that are natural to us, it can feel safe and secure. So thinking about, creating new pathways for your life in general, our systems need to feel safe. So we have to find ways to be able to incorporate our North Node that in a way that feels safe for us to transition. But I want you to think about, like if you're on vacation and you have a whole week and you never eat out, but then on vacation you eat out all the time. Well, vacation, like we used to take before COVID. But you know what I mean? You're traveling and it's fun and free and you're eating out every single day for every single meal. And then all of a sudden you're just feeling like, this just feels like icky and bleh and kind of like stuck. This is just the energy of eating out doesn't feel fun and exciting anymore, even though that was a really comfortable thing. So essentially you need to bring in some balance by eating some fresh food and maybe cooking for yourself, etc., etc. That is the way that living and staying in your South Node gets. It's like staying, running the same old program and same old pattern that just will eventually lose its charm. And so your whole demeanor will feel less vital. You'll feel like you're kind of going against the flow, like you're just stuck in old patterns that aren't serving you and you don't know why. And, we think about I'm calling this a tangent, but it relates. So if you think about like the grooves of our brain, we just like run similar patterns over and over and over again, and they can become hardened. And so that is like our South Node grooves are pretty hard. So we have to create some softness and some opening to be able to step forward. And then when you step more into your North Node, you just feel more light and free and more flow and like vigor and excitement for your life. And if you're really in tune with checking out your soul's purpose, it is super illuminating for you. So how do we find this? What we do, and for the people who have joined recently, I'm just letting you know that I'm not receiving comments on this or really able to tell when people are in and out. So please feel free to direct message me and I'll check my phone if you have any questions. Okay, so the way to find it in your chart. So when you look up your birth chart, and I've linked in this description of the live, I put together a free download, just a little guide to understanding your North Node. So when you sign up for that, it'll drop right into your inbox. It's like a 10-page PDF, and it kind of walks you through the steps as well. And there's a link in there of where I like to get charts. But when you're looking at your birth chart, it is the little headphone symbol, and you'll find usually just that symbol. A lot of chart programs don't show the South Node. So just know that that's your node, and what you're looking at is the astrological sign that node is sitting in, as well as the house placement. So the sign is what most people identify with as their North Node. So my North Node is in Aries. I would walk around saying, I'm an Aries North Node. However, there's more information that's really helpful when we look at the house in relationship to the sign. So some astrologers call the sign North Node, so like North Node in Aries, the first North Node, and then some call the house placement the second North Node. So for example, my North Node falls in Aries in the 8th house, which is ruled by Scorpio. We'll get into that in just a minute. But what you can do once you discover yours is understand that you are moving in this lifetime toward that astrological, the qualities, the positive not the shadowy, obviously, but the positive qualities of that North Node sign. Some of the qualities might feel like they're shadowy because they're the opposite of your South Node. And what we're trying to do is leave behind the shadowy qualities of the South Node. And I'll give you my example in just a moment to hopefully make that more clear. When you look at that sign, then we look into the house. So the sign is kind of like the who or the what that you are becoming. So for me, I'm becoming more of an Aries and I'm letting go of Libra. And the house is sort of the arena or the where in which you are becoming that thing, that North Node. So I hope that's making sense. And again, questions, just shoot me a DM or ask me after this. So yeah, that's what we do is we put those two pieces together. So you want to understand the who / the what that you're becoming, the qualities there and what you're leaving behind, and then the arena in which you are to be showing up in with that North Node space. And also then leaving behind the arena that is the South Node of the house placement. Again, the deck that I have might also be helpful for you to look through. So what I like to do is tuning into the energies of the North Node in my life. So again, I'm an Aries North Node, and I look at the planet Mars for inspiration, and I look at the energy of Aries for inspiration. I'm here to be a warrior in some way. I'm here to step out and be on my own. I'm here to be thinking about myself first. I'm here to be holding this energy of what I might have believed as being selfish. It's actually more beneficial for me and for the rest of the world if I am stepping into that space. To others, it might not look selfish because I've had so many years living in my Libra South Node where I'm really good at diplomacy and tact and creating harmony and balance, and really some of the shadow stuff being codependent and setting aside my own desires to please other people, or also because I'm super good at being in tune with other people's emotions or what they need under the surface. That's what a Libra is so good at. That I have to be careful that when I notice that, I need to set it aside because I need to act for myself first. And again, that is something that, and it, like, you could probably see it on my face. I can now, being recorded, I can see it on my own face that it feels it just feels a little bit hard to fully embrace this idea of stepping out with this Aries energy when I have had a long time living in the comforts of Libra. And almost, I like to think of it also as like I found my self-worth in some of those qualities. So it made me feel more worthy when I was like helping somebody else out or being an assistant to somebody. Like somebody with a Libra South Node is like, makes a really good assistant, but you're really not supposed to be here as an assistant. You're supposed to be here as your own individual stepping out. And coming out with like warrior, fiery, speaking your truth energy. Then looking at the house placement. Going back into like tuning into that in your life, obviously understanding what those nodal placements are and what you're trying to let go of and what you're trying to step forward in. And just noticing in your life where you've already done that, and notice some of the, for me, it was like internal desires. Like I really, 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 like this feeling started coming around 2009, so a long time ago. But I really wanted to, I was working for Target. I studied fashion design in school, and I went on to become a fashion designer for Target, designing kids' clothes. Great stable job, especially to get right after 2008. And it was my first job out of college, and it was all the things that are my South Node. It was stability, which is Taurus. So that's the South Node of my Scorpio home. It was building physical material things, which is like actually creating clothing, actual physical things. But I had this yearning to always be off on my own. I just didn't really listen to it because I didn't think it was possible. And as the years and years went on, I was able to find more autonomy in my design jobs, and I became a freelancer. And then I learned that I wanted to become a healer quite a few years ago, and it took time for me to finally step into that and realize that, I could actually do that. So on my path to becoming a healer, that's when I discovered about the second part of the North Node. I learned about the house placement, the arena in which I'm supposed to be out on my own, which for me is a Scorpio North Node. So what that looks like is everything that is the underworld, like nothing that is material. So really tuning into this space of the Akashic records and things that are, that only people can intuit and see into, that are not of, I already said this, but the tangible material world. And so it made so much sense. Like, no wonder I've been drawn to astrology and drawn to tarot and drawn to Akashic records. Well, Akashic records I was like pushing away for a really long time because it kind of freaked me out. So it's interesting, some of the North Node things that will be calling you, you'll feel a little bit nervous around. And the more you start to embrace them, the more you start to feel like you, and the more you get to own who you are. So that's what I love about learning about these things, is because like the logic of the information kind of helped me to override some of the emotional experience, some of my past experience of, growing up in a household that didn't believe, I wasn't allowed to look at horoscopes, or I wasn't allowed to meditate. I wasn't allowed to even read Harry Potter because there were witches in there. So there was, it's interesting because I was always drawn to that. I used to like set up these circles with my friends when we would do slumber parties and like do trances on them and like take them to another place, essentially like guided meditations. And we would always go somewhere super dark. But anyway, these things have been like living within you as little seeds for a long time, and you get to really bring them forward. So that gives you a little bit about my story. And as you tune into yours, it's really fun to find just like the easiest ways to bring it into your life. So for example, because I'm an Aries North Node, and I know that the day of Tuesday is ruled by the planet Mars, which rules Aries, I allow Tuesdays to be a day where if I have to do something that's hard, it's going on Tuesday. If I have to do something where I need to like take that internal power and really show up, I'm gonna, if I can, intentionally schedule on Tuesday. I also will wear red or red lipstick or red undergarments or something that feels like spicy and fiery and saucy and whatever. So I call in more of that energy of that day, because that is my North Node energy, and it feels like a special day for me to play with. I have a lot of friends that are Taurus North Nodes, and that day is Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is the day of Friday. And so, I always encourage my friends that have that Venus North Node placement to really tune into what makes them feel like a goddess. Like, allow that day to be the day where you take a bath, or where you just dress up in something really beautiful, especially right now while we're kind of all quarantined still. Like, give yourself a reason to dress up. Give yourself a reason to be, to feel really beautiful, and call in those like Venus goddess vibes. Go out into nature and just, touch the earth, smell, like allow all your senses to really flow through. So I hope that's helpful and interesting. I'm trying to think. This kind of went quicker than I thought, and again, I'm still not seeing any comments come through. So I'm so sorry if you are sending anything. Again, you can shoot me something separately if that is, helpful for you. But feel free to download the free guide. It is pretty like step by step, just giving you, enough information to go off on. But essentially, you're just really looking at your North Node, so that little headphone symbol, the sign and the house placement, and how those two come together. So the what that you're coming into and leaving behind, as well as the arena or the space that will show up in. And then if you'd like to learn more or go any deeper or work with me one-on-one, I currently have I'm really excited. I put together essentially a full package healing and transformation accelerator that is designed to align with, to help clients align with and step into what their soul is here to be. So we look at human design, we look at your North Node, and then we take it all through, anything through this healing practice that I work with, to just blast it away so that you can fully embrace and step into who you are meant to be. So I have some links in this description for there's a free soul alignment chat that I have going on right now, as well as if you're just ready to blast through some stuff that you've maybe been holding on to for a long time that you're aware of, or whatever. I also have a 90-minute healing breakthrough session that really feels like blasting through years of talk therapy in a single session. It's pretty magical. Otherwise, please feel free to reach out to me separately. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys all have a really beautiful night.